If there's one eternal moment, if there's no such thing as time, what is karma? How can actions that we as characters performed or did reward us or punish us in the present moment, which is the only moment? Where is this? It's a gap. It's like a gap. If there's no such thing as a timeline, when we did something, it was wrong, and time passed, and then something that is related to what we did happens and makes closure, closes the circle. And it is our karma. It was meant to be because we did this action. Or if it's a good karma, it's like a prize because we acted in the right way. Karma rewards us. Karma, and this character's, Simcha's character's knowing, is not necessarily karma as is described in the literature or in ancient traditions, because the character Simcha has never learned about this term. She only knows what she will describe. What is this term? So karma is a closure. You create it, you create the circle, and you close the circle. This is what it appears to be. It's like a process. Karma is like a process. When you do something and this action starts like a movement and it closes. And the very nature of the beginning of the movement is the nature of disclosure. If it was a good thing, the karma will aspire to end it in a good way. And if something was wrong and the actions weren't pure and compassionate, karma will punish the character. It will hold him liable for his actions. You will have to it's like taking responsibility for yourself. So it's like, karma is like the responsibility the character has on itself. What have you done? Okay, if you've done this thing, you are in charge, you were in charge, and this is what's happened. This is what happens when you do such a thing. This is karma. So first, there is no such thing as karma. Just like there is no such thing as reincarnation. Karma cannot exist because time does not exist, because the character does not exist, because there is such a thing as this all-nothingness, which is emptiness, which is the one eternal moment, which is oneness, and inside this oneness, there can be no specific karma for a person. Only the appearance, as always. Everything around us is the appearance of an idea, of something, and karma is no different than any other thing that you can think about when you imagine your life, your thoughts, your feelings, your table, your children. Everything is this oneness, and karma belongs to these vague things as imaginations and thoughts and dreams. It does not have just a life of its own, like an existence. So you are always, always free from karma. Always. every second you live inside this reality is free. This is like levels of addressing this illusion. We can look directly at the source, at what is, and this is what I described as all nothingness. And we can look at the relative level of existence, of reality, and this is the character's identification and creation of the illusion of itself. Inside this appearance of a character, there is a story. And this story is what makes it the unique expression it is, and it expresses certain things. So in the story, the character has lived in the past, has made decisions. Sometimes she was right, sometimes she was wrong. In the past, in the story. And this expression of oneness, which is the present moment, is a representation of the sum of these decisions now. And it means nothing. It doesn't mean that the things and these decisions were made. It means that in the appearance of the moment, they were made. There is a great difference between these two things. So, thinking about karma as like this fatal thing that chases you and dictates your life and what will happen to you is a dangerous thought, because it, as always, takes the freedom from the thing, the character itself, and happily uses like some kind of a system or a mechanism to interpret reality, and it is a great relief. I can understand this reality. I know there was something has happened, and then in this process it will have like a result. So it's a comforting thought for the separate form. It understands the logic of this process because it is similar to the process of living. In our lives, we make a decision, so it has consequences. And so the mind thinks, okay, karma is the same. I made a decision, it has consequences. There is a direct link between these two things. Karma is the way this moment, this character expresses itself, so it is built. So it can be that because certain decisions were made, inevitably something happened because of these decisions, and like a line of story was created. And it is inevitably like a river flowing in this direction. It has no choice other than to move in this direction because of this, like a rock you put inside a stream and you turn the stream in another direction, so it goes there. The only thing is there is no stream. These are the good news. There is no stream. So every moment is a fresh start. Every millisecond you're a clean slate. You have no karma. It doesn't matter what happens to the character. It doesn't matter. This is not the thing that is the main expression of the thing, the story. What happens in the story is irrelevant. I can't call it a sensation, the knowing of the character of what it is in the present moment is the thing. And this is the only thing, and this has nothing to do with outer circumstances and stories. So when karma acts, it's a very, very good mechanism. It cannot but be what it is. An inevitably and very logical process that happens because a movement has started, like it's an inertia of movement, and it will flow that way. If it started with a good deed, it will end a good karmic circle, and if it started badly, inevitably it will bear rotten fruits. So of course, creating the present moment is better in creating a good karma, good decisions, good actions, noble actions will bear noble karma. But it is inevitable, and it is in the hands or decision of the character. So I know these are two flutes, and I'm playing both flutes simultaneously. I'm saying one thing and the opposite thing in the same breath I take. There is no such thing as karma. Every moment is fresh, and you are clean and you are free. And there is an appearance of a moment, and in this appearance there is karma, and there are consequences on our actions, and they are inevitable, and they will happen, and it will be. This is karma. So this is because of the two levels of existence. When there is self-realization or enlightenment or knowing yourself, you are free from any karma you have ever had, because you realized it was not you. You cannot have a specific karma of a specific character, because you are everything and all the things all at once. And so, also as a character, you are released from this burden of karmatic revenge. The present moment, this eternal moment, this blissful, quiet moment, appears to be built out of everything so beautifully, all the characters' special abilities and all its history in the past and in the place it was born, and her actions, the character's actions, and all these parameters builds the moment in which the character acts. And it's like this is the way it expresses itself now. And because it is one, just like a kaleidoscope, one eternal moment that changes within itself. Imagine that you like move this kaleidoscope and all the shapes are transformed in a different kind of way, but they stay inside this circle. So they stay inside this circle, all these shapes of this kaleidoscope, all these parameters stay inside this present moment, and they express something. And the expression of what happens in the story is linked to this, the prior change of these forms inside this present moment. But it doesn't matter what happens in the story. What happens in the story is karma. What happens in the story is karma. This is what happens in the appearance of the story of the character. And this is very, very logical, that things will have like some kind of an evolution towards something, and this thing aspires everything to be expressed and opened. And so it grows. Karma is like a way every action grows into its fullest potential, and the fullest potential is what can happen to the character in the story. But it is always inside the story, and the story is not the real potential of reality of what is. It's only a story. It's like the dream. So what happens inside the dream, it doesn't matter. It matters when you are awake. And when you are awake, you know that that was only a dream, and everything that happens inside this story never happened, and so it doesn't matter what happens in the story. The only thing that happens, and the only way to be free from karma and every restricting belief we have on ourselves, is, as always, acknowledging the fact that this moment is the only moment in which we live. This is the only thing that is. This is the only thing that we can ever know, this moment, this very specific moment, and therefore how we react to what happens is the way to be free from karma. Because suppose you had a very bad decision, or you made a mistake and you did something bad in the past, and it came back in another way, but you know it's connected to this decision, to this poor, bad decision, and it comes back, and it's 10 times bigger than what you started, and it comes back, and it's very hard, because something hard happens in the story. But the way you perceive what is happening in the story is the way to cut this vicious circle of actions and reactions of what karma is, and to be liberated inside this reality. And I don't mean for the character to be indifferent to what happens. No. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have to care what happens in the story, and to ignore it or not to pay attention because it's not a story and it doesn't exist anyway. So the only way to cut the cords of this vicious circle of actions and reactions, which we call like a karma, is to be in the present moment when the action happens, the only moment that exists, when it happens, when it truly happens. Both the actions and the reactions, both the beginnings of the karmatic circle and the results of this karmatic circle, when we are inside this place and we don't take into consideration the story, not because we are indifferent to it and we don't care and it's just a story and I'll be like some kind of a monk and I'll pray that it will be better and something will take away all my sins and my karma will be cleansed. I don't know. No, it's acting inside the present moment in the way that respects us, respects what we are. If we respect this moment, which is us, which is oneness, which is all nothingness, and we act accordingly in the highest, most evolved way possible, most compassionate way possible, with our might, with all our will, inside the moment, no matter what the story around us is. And if we don't waste time about psychological digging, I am in this state because I did this decision years ago, and this is the karmic closure, and I deserve it or I don't deserve it, and why it happened. All this inner dialogue, monologue, takes away the power to really handle what is happening inside the story. And when you look at the story, pure, the story, what is, there is only one thing you should do, just do the right thing inside the story. And leave the thought of why it happened or what will happen next. If you just act accordingly, respectfully, inside the moment, and truly act, not think about acting, truly react to the circumstances. If you will do that, if you immerse yourself in the present moment instead of investigating the moment, you will cut the cords of karma. There will be no karma added and no karma that will come to haunt you, because you are inside the moment and you don't care. The key is the caring about the story. You should not care about the story. The story is not the main thing. You should act inside the story as if it is the most important thing, and try your best to act inside it, but not because it's real or not because it makes a difference. You should do that if you want to be free from disillusion and from karma. It's wonderful to see this thing in action, karma, because now I think the process is like accelerates of karma. It's like instant karma. You can see the results of everything very quickly. The circles are closing very, very quickly. And it's like an acceleration of this process, just to demonstrate to the character the mechanism of it. Should be blind not to see this beautiful movement, inevitable movement of action and reaction. It's so beautiful to see this process, this thing on global processes in the world and on other people's lives. You can see, and it's like these wings from the oneness. When you see that, it's like it's not a coincidence. You know that it's not a coincidence because you can see the direct connection between the actions of the character and this beautiful outcome, which is always much, much bigger than the start of this karmatic thing. And you can break this thing in any given moment, and these are the good news. You can break the circle of karma. The state of oneness, of nothingness, of what this shift has made this character be, it's like traveling lightly or traveling without luggage. This character has no luggage. And this is because prior to the shift, many circles were closed, karmatic circles in the story, for the better. And now inside this reality, inside Simcha's reality, she acts so passionately inside the moment. So she solves the problems inside the moment. It's hard because she's very busy and very attentive and very alert to everything and everyone that comes across her way. When she has to do something, when she has to address something, when she has to make a decision. She doesn't make any of these things, but you know, for example, when she's acting inside this present one moment, she's acting in a way that doesn't create any ripples in the water, nothing. She closes the circle inside this present moment, and she doesn't create an additional storyline, or an unnecessary storyline. If she wants to create a storyline, she will create something inside the moment that she knows will bear beautiful fruits after. She can do that. She can invest in the moment for something good to happen. But it is not karma. So acting inside the moment eliminates karma, eliminates the process, because you do the circle inside the moment, and the moment, it's just the appearance of disclosure. Inside the present moment, you can have like an appearance of time passing and actions. It's the same meaning, but you can do that in a smaller way. If you do and act in the present moment, you will create the circle of what was supposed to happen, but it will be a very small circle, and it will close, and it will leave place for other things, and it will not become the main thing that you see. I'm sorry for all the air quotes. It's very hard to talk like that, but this is it. It's like the story can express itself in different kinds of ways, and karma. If you want to cut the cords and be released from this thing, the only thing is by creating smaller circles inside the present moment. And you can do that by paying attention to what you do and how you react and what you mean when you act inside the present moment. There is no divine God that planned that you will have such and such karma. We are not reincarnated as a character from this world up above, and we came to fulfill our karma. There is no such thing, no such decisions. There cannot be, if you truly understand the meaning of this thing, of this being one with everything, this emptiness. There can logically not be such a thing. You were not born to deliver some kind of karma. You were always free. The only thing you have to do is to express this freedom by acting as a free person, as a free character. And the free character is not tormented and fearful from the future and from her past actions, and she only acts in the best way she can, and she does everything the best she can in the present moment. The only thing that matters is the way the character, the free character, reacts to the story. If she's trying to get somewhere, to someplace, and she discovers there is like a giant hole in the ground and she cannot pass to the place that she wants to get, she can say, okay, this is because I did such and such a thing, and this is the result, and this is my punishment. And she can just look at this obstacle in her way and say, okay, there is a hole here, and I cannot pass to the other side. What do I do? Do I go around, even if it takes me 1,000,000 years to get to where I want? I will go around this giant hole. Do I build a bridge? I do not accept this as a heavenly punishment. I will always see, what can I do now? And this will be my story. and it is not a punishment, it's just a story. And it doesn't matter if I'm building a bridge or going around this obstacle. It only matters that I care and continue the expression of the story, and I'm free to act. This is my choice. You are always free from karma. Always. Just act accordingly.